Okay, so just like that, we are back with another trade recap. And on Friday, I took buys on the S&P 500. So I'll just take you guys through a quick trade recap and explain to you why I took the trade, what my confluences were, and when I exited the trade. So that was Friday. So before I go into Friday's trade, I want to draw your attention to this big imbalance fair value gap, whatever you want to call it. So we had this up move, I think it was on Thursday, when we got some good news with regards to the tariffs, right? So I think it was when the tariffs were going to be put on hold for 90 days. Nasdaq, S&P, and US 30, they all pushed up like aggressively. Say, I think it was like 10%. It had a 10% bullish day. Hence, we had this big candle and this big push up. So the reason why I'm drawing your attention to this big fair value gap, or just a simple imbalance, if you wanna, whatever you wanna call it, is because with that move up, we also broke 4-hour structure to the upside. With that move up, we also broke 4-hour structure to the upside, right? But that's besides the point. So when I saw this massive push up, my bias for Friday did kind of switch to bullish, even though overall market structure in the long run is actually bearish. And the reason for that is I will explain now. So I marked out this zone, right? I marked it out, and it was I kind of marked it out as a little intermediate zone / fair value gap, right? So keep in mind, this is a higher time frame fair value gap, and hence I was first waiting for it to get filled at least 50% of the way, if not more, and then I would look for longs from there, given that the fair value gap would be respected. So as you can see, in this case, it did. It was respected, price pushed in, and then we got a push out of it and a push back towards this daily resistance zone, right? But like I said, I was waiting for the fair value gap, this 4-hour fair value gap, to at least get filled 50% of the way, right? So we can see during during late Thursday and evening, and during early Asian session and London session during Friday, we can see price rejected from the daily resistance and pushed into that. I marked it out as an intermediate zone, but for simple terms, you can just call it a fair value gap, which it is actually a fair value gap. But nonetheless, price pushed into it, and actually a couple of times price actually did push into it. So if I were to make it, yeah, that's better. So a couple of times price actually pushed into it. Price didn't seem to want to push any lower. So when New York session opened on Friday, this was giving me good reason to look for buys, like I said, because price was pushing into it. Then we can also see price try to push into it a couple of times before pushing out, right? So also there was PPI on Friday, which is a big news event for the US. Hence, I had to wait a little to look for trade setups, right? So there's a couple of, so like I said, just keep in mind this yellow thing, yellow box, yellow zone. It was I marked out the fair value gap / intermediate zone, which is just what I like to call it. Then also you can see over here on these, with these green vertical lines, I did mark out, you can see 9 o'clock we had London session open. Then I also marked out the 3 o'clock hourly candle, which is New York session open, right? And the reason why I done that was because, as we can see with these yellow lines over here, I'm just going to remove this box for now. As we can see with these white lines over here, I marked out London session lows with that first white line. Then also I marked out Asian session lows, right? So the reason why I did that is because, once again, like I said, price did push in and filled the fair value gap, right? So I was hoping maybe price would push a little deeper to sweep out both London session and Asian session lows, right? But we can see that only the London session lows got swept out, right? Over here, you can see, where's this thing? Right over there. Only the London session lows got swept out. So I waited actually a little longer, a couple of minutes longer, uh, anticipating that maybe price would have actually, pushed lower to sweep it out and then push further up. As we can clearly see, we only got the sweep of the London lows, therefore eliminating the possibility of Asian session lows getting swept out, right? So once again, I'll draw on this little box thingy over there. I'll draw it on just once more. So the first confluence was, for me, getting into the confluences now. The first confluence was, like I said, we had this massive fair value gap slash imbalance slash intermediate zone, which is what I call it. And then price did push into it. It tried to fill it it tried to push through it a couple of times, and price rejected from it all those times. So that was confluence one, telling me, okay, bears are struggling to push price lower, and there's a good possibility that price could eventually continue to push higher towards this daily resistance zone, right? So with that being said, that was confluence number one. Then confluence number two was the sweep of, like I said, what I was waiting for, either London session lows liquidity or Asian session lows liquidity. As we can see, clearly only London session lows liquidity got swept. So that was confluence number two for me. And then apart from all of that, I decided to go onto the lower time frames, purely on the fact that I already got higher time frame confirmation. Clearly on the fact that I already got higher time frame confirmation, that being the 4-hour fair value gap, price pushed into it, got the reaction off it, showed me that price wants to push lower, as well as combined with the 1-hour liquidity sweep of those London session lows. So I didn't still bother going on to the 15-minute, waiting all up for all that. I just simply went on to the 5-minute, and as we can see by this red little line over there, all I did after that was just wait for a 5-minute break of structure over there to the upside. So we can see with this was the candle, this big bullish candle was the candle that got us the 5-minute break of structure to the upside, right? And I just marked it out with this little red line over there. So we got the 5-minute break of structure to the upside, and then all I did after that, got the 5-minute break of structure. So I was like, okay, that was 3 confluences. That's good enough for me. So all I did was, I then decided to take my entry off of that 5-minute break of structure, which was, I think, right over here. Yep, just right over there. My TP, I was targeting this daily resistance zone up there, and my stop loss I put just below that liquidity sweep. Let me just go over there, higher time frame to make sure. to make sure. Yeah, I put my stop loss just below. I put my stop loss just below. It was actually a little. I think it was a little higher. It was a little higher. Yeah, I put my stop loss just below that 1 hour liquidity sweep, and I think my TP was a little bit further into this little zone here. Yeah, it was somewhere around there because I know the trade was it was a 1:2 risk to reward. I'm think yeah. So that being said, my TP was in that daily resistance zone. My stop loss was just below that liquidity sweep, and I took the trade late on Friday. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see, but I think it was well after New York session opened, and I held it right up until Sunday night market open, and that's when my TP got hit. My full TP got hit. It was a little risky holding over the weekend, especially if a big news event came out regarding the tariffs, and it, for example, would have been bad. Market would have opened considerably lower, and I probably would have gotten stopped out. But by then, before market closed on Friday, I had already moved my stop loss to break even, so it was a risk-free trade. But it did end up working out for me, and the full TP got hit. And as we can see, I was actually in zero drawdown. Got a good entry right off that 5-minute break of structure, and price just pushed continuously up to my TP. Yeah, so it was actually one of my better trades for this year regarding indices specifically. One of my best entries for the year as well, especially given the fact that every 5 minutes some sort of news is coming out and sending price just up, down, left, right. So yeah, it was a good trade, good entry. My confluences was on point, my bias was on point. So yeah, this was just a trade recap. How I won my S&P trade, taking buys on Friday, day trading the S&P 500. So